Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Dr. Nicholas Felix joins us next. He is the former Deputy National Youth Coordinator for the PCC of the APC and also former presidential aspirant himself. Good morning and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, good to be here.
Well, yes, we've seen the inauguration of the National Assembly, but before that, there was this fuel price matter. People had to grapple with that, feeling the pinch in their pockets. Now, this policy as well on the, they use it interchangeably, floating the naira, devaluation, but of course, there will be that impact on the consumers as well. So, economically speaking, many not just exactly sure what to make of the larger picture of this presidency, because already they feel, oh dear, we're already taking a hit on our pockets. So what do you know in terms of what more to expect? How are we to expect the further policies to mitigate all of these other ones, perhaps may come in sooner than later?
Once again, thank you for having me and good morning to Nigerians. I think I see this totally different. Okay. Some of the pains we are feeling now, I could liken it to a surgeon who carried out a surgery, removing a tumor from somebody. At the moment you feel the pain, but you know this is for your good. The fuel price and the rest of that, as regarding the fuel subsidy, that has been a tumor in Nigeria. That has been something that every president was attempting to remove. And now we have a president that is bold enough to take that step to remove it. We may feel the pain, just now, but in no distant time, things will begin to resolve and Nigeria will begin to smile again. It's already the atmosphere. As a journalist, I think you can feel it, that this president is making some bold moves, some bold decisions, that Nigerians are already feeling the positive impact, despite the fact that fuel price has gone up. The atmosphere is changing already. So Nigeria should be patient. This was necessary. There are policies that are necessary. The changes that are coming, sometimes we may experience a little turbulence, but at the end of the day, we're going to get to our destination. And this president is determined to cause a change in Nigeria. Hope is being renewed already, and I know you can feel it in the atmosphere.
Former President Buhari policies, they said the same thing to Nigerians, and they can tell better in terms of what they felt.
15 days of President Tinubu's administration is already looking better than 4 years of past administrations. You can feel it. I was at the airport on Monday coming. I saw three young men discussing. I overheard them. One of them say, I'm obedient. They were just talking about this president. I'm obedient and the things this man is doing, we are surprised. And talking about a student loan. One of them actually said, I'm going back to school. That kind of really touched me. I was like, wow, this is what we want to see. Young men, hope being renewed. I hate seeing young men in this country begging, we're in our prime age where we have strength, vision, and yet nothing to show for it. So hearing that young man at the airport talking about, I think I'm going back to school, that gladdens my heart. So that's what you're going to be seeing. That's what we're hearing. Things are changing. 15 days of President Tinubu's administration, you can't compare it to 4 years of past administrations. Things are changing. The little pains we are feeling, it is necessary, it's expected. The surgeon is carrying out an operation to remove tumor from you. You're going to feel the pain. After the surgery is done, you feel the pain. But when you completely heal, I'm sure you'll be glad the surgery took place. That's what is going on.
Well, I think that your bullishness is expected. The fact that you're highly optimistic, after all, you're a member of the APC. If you were not optimistic, what exactly will you be selling to Nigerians? But, people are concerned. I think that for a number of people, it's still cautiousness. There's still plenty of cautiousness. It's like this is some experiment that is going on. As my colleagues have pointed out in the conversation we've had on the Naira, this is not the first time it's been floated. Governments have been they watch to see just how things, and even economic experts know that this can go either way. If it's managed right, it can be for the good of the country. If it's not properly managed, it is the people who will suffer as a result of that. So much as we want to share your optimism, I think that the word on the streets is still caution. So if you ask me, if I were to ask you, would you say that we have sufficient safeguards in place would you say that there's been sufficient measures being put in place to measure the matrix, to measure the impact of this on ordinary Nigerians and know just when to intervene? For people in the middle class, there are some shocks that they can take. And I mean, if you talk about conversations at the airport, it's not the average Nigerian who is at the airport. Those kinds of people might still be able to take some kind of shocks. But at the very base level, where people are already vulnerable, do we have in place metrics to be able to measure what the impacts would be at those levels?
Now, the gentlemen at the airport were those that help you with cards. So they were not people traveling who just came. So that's one. Number two, let's look at this. I'm not just optimistic because I'm part of this administration. I wanted to take note of every word I've ever said when I showed up on this channel. And I spoke about this president because of the things I've heard him say. When we went to rally with all the charade, everything going on, I paid close attention to policies. When he's speaking, the things that he say. Now, I'm not surprised. Nigerians may be surprised, like many of them are saying. The rep from Abia, Labour Party rep from Abia State, was shocked, surprised. I didn't know this man is that intelligent. We that are close to him, we are not surprised. We're expecting this and even more. The things are going to change. This is just 15 days. Let's look at the man in charge. He was governor of Lagos State. For me, this is very personal to me, and I've learned a lot from it. When he was governor, the federal allocation was withheld. That is enough for any governor, any leader to complain. That is enough for anybody to fail. But this man did not fail. I don't know what could be more difficult than that. But he was able to take Lagos from what it is to what it was to what it is now. If such a person is in the helm of affairs and was able to mitigate and navigate through such difficult time, I think this is not going to be difficult for him. Policies are being put in place. Like I said, you're going to experience some turbulence. It doesn't mean the journey will be aborted. That doesn't mean we will not get to our destination. Nigerians should be expectant. Nigerians should be patient. But I can tell you the word on the street is President Tinubu is doing amazingly well, and we're very expectant.
That wasn't quite the question I asked. The question I asked was as to whether or not we had sufficient metrics in place to measure the impact of this on vulnerable people.
It's not a one-day thing. It's yet to set up his cabinet. That will be done, in no distant time. And I believe as that is done, we'll begin to see more policies, more things put in place that will help, the average Nigerian go through this. And since the inauguration, series of meetings have been going on. So we are going to be seeing more coming in, but we can't see everything in just 15 days. But so far, what we are saying, I think we are very hopeful. The hope agenda, renewed hope agenda, is playing out very well.
By the way, it was only local government funds that was withheld, not the entire funds that was withheld when it was governor. But, should we expect, from your interaction, because we see what happens in this part of the climb. When certain things happen, the prices, the so-called demand and supply can go over the roof. There isn't that mechanism or templates, a framework. In the other countries where you go to, you can't hike certain prices beyond a certain limit. Yeah. There's always that template here. I've heard people talk about some sort of templates to ensure people don't just arbitrarily take advantage of consumers at their whims and caprice. Should we expect those kind of policies to come through as well?
Yes, we should expect that. And I think that's something the administration...
At the national level, right?
Yes. I think that's one thing the administration is going to look into, because from the day the president announced subsidy was removed, the price went up. I do have a filling station. We didn't just increase price overnight just like that. But it wasn't the president that increased the price. Even though subsidy was going to, the effect was going to kick in by the end of June, the marketers, those who own filling station, jacked up their price. That's not the fault of the president.
How much did
Most times, we sell the usual rates. We just got it not too long. So the same rates we were selling, that's what we had. We didn't increase the price. So the point is, everything is not just about the president. The president didn't ask them to hike the price up. But it's the job of the administration to put this template, like you said, to be able to monitor things like this and implement some serious penalties for people who want to take advantage of of the average consumer. But it's not just all about the president. Those of us who are the oil marketers, the businessmen and women, the airline owners, they should be able to do the same. If there's no need to increase the price, you don't have to. If Nigeria is going to be better, we must join hands together to work with the president. The president is one man. He announced subsidy was removed. Those who already had the fuel already had the price. It's not the president's fault. So if we as Nigerians really want to see change, you must do the little part you can in your own little corner.
Well, that's why many are waiting for his team. Because yes, he's one man, but he's going to be the one to pick his team.
Yes.
And we expect Nigerians to trust him and his team
yes.
to deliver. So in that regard, we'll wait and see how that turns out.
Why do you think it's taking so long, though? Because even though, yes, the Constitution now stipulates, just how long it should take, 60 days. But some people said, with all of the consultations that had been happening even before he was sworn in, by now he should...
He's gone to France and back several times.
He should have nominated a cabinet.
Immediately the inauguration on the 29th, we had the NAS election. You know how busy it was. Consultation going on and all of that. So that took a whole lot of time. Now that that is over, we should be expecting him to release the list. He's not in a hurry. This is what has been going on. People wanting to just jump into things. He's taking his time, but he's very proactive. I must tell you that. He's been into the office all the time. He closed 8 p.m. He's very proactive, so we're expecting the best from him. 15 days, come on, we got to give him a break.
There's been a real shift,
He said, don't give me a break, I asked for this job.
Yes, when I
don't give me one money, he didn't ask for any.
I understand, but come on, 15 days?
I'm looking at your talk, your conversation now from what we had shortly after the primaries. Don't forget, the primaries, the APC primaries were quite interesting. You ran for president.
Yes.
At some point, you stepped down for former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and I think initially you were a little unsure of how it was going to pan out within the party. But it does appear that you've moved from that to this bullish status. What would you say has been this greatest single factor influencing that?
Few months after the primaries, I was on your show after a meeting with the president. I moved by conviction. I'm not into politics because of money. I'm doing extremely very well where I am. I run a multi-million-dollar company in America. So my thing is, I have to be moved to impact lives. If I didn't see that in Asiwaju, I can guarantee you I wouldn't be here. I had interactions with him, sat with him several times, had meetings, discussion, and I asked him questions. I saw that this man was ready for change. And, consulting with people, speaking with people, and begin to look at his past record. I said, number one thing that gravitated me towards him was the boldness. Nigeria is a country, we need a bold president. Somebody that will take decisions without looking at the faces of people, that will not go and be massaging our politicians who don't want this country to grow. When I saw that boldness in him, I said, this is the person I think we should rally after. And of course, we began to, I joined the team and we began to campaign. My optimism has been from day one after meeting with him. As soon as I was convinced, I joined the team and we began to run. And I'm glad all that we said is what is playing out now. And that's why I can boldly come here and sit down and keep talking about him. I'm sure if he wasn't performing, some of us would be hiding in shame by now. He's performing very well, and Nigerians are saying it.
As you said, it's 15 days.
That's what I thought you said. Hold on, it's just
15 days. It's already looking better than 4 years. You
of what? 4 years of
4 years of whatever administration you want to think of. And I remember I made a statement that if President Tinubu succeeds in getting 70% of great people around him, he will become one, if not the best democratic president in the history of this country. Now, and I said that, I'm repeating it again. I'm going to come back here maybe after 1 year and we will revisit this discussion.
One other area, one key area that lots of Nigerians, if not everybody, wants to see something done is power. I know he said, look, if anybody stands in the way of moving the country forward, they will be removed.
Yes.
Those were his recent words. And when he was governor in Lagos, he tried something with Enron. So at this point in time, many will be looking to see, because you've spoken about taking those strong decisions and steps. So now, should we equally expect that in the power sector, because in his speech, he says, Nigerians will get power, will be readily available. So if we take that literally, it means we expect a huge step.
Yes.
In that sector.
We should expect a huge step. As you know, the Electricity Act that was just signed I was reviewing it, and there was a few things I saw in there that I think will really help if we take advantage of it. For example, that's giving private sector companies the ability and the legal right to be able to generate, transmit, and distribute power. I was listening to Elon Musk some time ago. Elon Musk gave a statistic that within a 100-mile radius, if you put solar system, it can generate electricity to power the whole of America. That's a whole lot, considering the America, how great it is. So right now, we should be inviting investors to be able to take advantage of our forest. Put solar system there to be able to generate power. So there are so much in that bill. I believe as time goes on, we'll begin to see change in the power sector. But let me assure you that President Tinubu is ready to work, and Nigerians are going to see changes and begin to smile again like they started already.
Well, Mr. Nicholas, I hope that you still have good reason for your optimism, you know, maybe 1 year and 2 years down the line following the impact of some of these policies or the sustainability of the policies in the first place. I'd like to talk about the, you know, impact of fuel subsidy and specifically taking it now to the $800 million World Bank loan. I'd have asked you about the propriety in the light of the circumstances, but I guess that ship has since sailed because the reports suggest that the administration has already secured the loan. But how would you recommend that, you know, the loan be disbursed? Because especially because of the concern about, you know, how palliatives in that category in the past administrations were disbursed to accounts that cannot be accounted for even now. So how do you suggest that this government goes about the disbursement of the $800 million World Bank loan?
I may not be able to give so much details about this, but what I could say, when I hear the issues of palliative, I often wonder, palliative are a temporary measure. This President Tinubu, is looking into more sustainable and more permanent measure, and not just handing over palliative. Even if some funds are given to Nigerians, I don't see how far that will go. So we're looking at the more sustainable measure, like working on our existing refineries. The Dangote refinery is going to be, you know, operating very soon. As soon as we're able to get this to reduce the fuel price and so that things will go back to normal. Yeah, the palliative are okay, but they are more temporary. And the Nigerian, you know, the last time palliative were given to us, how many got to the people? The president may approve some palliative right now. The issue is how much of it we get to the average Nigerian. So let's look at a broader picture of a more permanent solution than just, you know, talking about palliative. Because this president is willing to do the right thing, I'm sure the $800 million will be disbursed very well. But I would really suggest that the funds are used for a more permanent solution. Anything that will be done to reduce the fuel price, to bring things down, that's what we should be looking at, instead of just some people clamoring for maybe a bag of rice, some amount of money. Even if 50,000 naira is given to majority of the Nigerians for 1 or 2, 3 months, it's still not a permanent solution. So let's focus more on the permanent solution than just the temporary palliative measures.
My concern really is more about how the process can be made accountable. But on to another matter, still on the impact of fuel subsidy removal, we saw how Labour, different affiliations of Labour began to negotiate with the government, and then not long afterwards, the federal government secured an order stopping a strike to be embarked upon by the NLC. Do you think that amid all of that, the NLC has been intimidated to into silence, especially because of that key concern that, you know, subsidy is still covered up until the end of June, and that, you know, Labour demanded that status quo be maintained at least until the end of June, when subsidy is still subsisting?
Oh, no. There was no form of intimidation in any way. Even before the order came from the court, the negotiation had already gone on. Remember, this is democracy where we give and take, we negotiate. And the President Tinubu is one man, you understand that he knows this very well. He knows how to negotiate. He knows how to discuss. So, and that's what we should expect, not just going on strike. You and I know that the strike affect the average Nigerian. It's not the rich that will suffer it. So the negotiation went well, but there was nothing like intimidation. There was nothing like bullying. They negotiated and they came to an agreement. That's what we should expect in democracy, where we negotiate, we disagree to agree, and move forward for the common good of the average Nigerian. So I don't see it as any form of intimidation. We want to move on. Labour has been going on strike before. So much has been going on when people go on strike. But I think we want to see more of negotiations, more of agreement in agreeing and moving forward than going on strike. Because think about it, going on strike when fuel price is already up, the average Nigerian will be suffering the more. So I think it was a good step for them to listen to the president and be able to negotiate. And number two, he just got into office. I mean, do you want to welcome the president by just going on strike? Give him time to put things in together and, you know, and get things going than just going on strike because he announced that subsidy was removed. So there was nothing like bullying or intimidation here.
Dr. Nicholas, it is interesting when you put it that way, but then he, as Malcolm pointed out to you, it's only those who wear the shoes that know how it pinches or where it pinches. But let me take you, you know, a little away from the core conversation, and that's the fact that we're talking about what the president alone has done now. And you have also said, as my colleagues have taken you up on, his cabinet will be set up in no time. These ministers will have to supervise departments and agencies of ministries, departments and agencies of government, numbering, according to Mr. Kabuize about 2 years ago, almost 1,500 in number. Now, one of the things a number of people have said is that if there is corruption, that's where it happens, in those ministries, departments, and agencies. Do you see a situation where those agencies themselves will line up with the body language, as we like to use, of the president, or they're just going to continue to do the things they do the way they do it? And if you think it is going to change, how? What needs to change?
Of course. You see, one of the reasons I ran for president was because when the head is right, the body will be right. When a fish wants to go rotty, first of all, it starts from the head. If the head is not corrupt, definitely there's no way corruption will go down. There's always going to be one person there one ministry, one minister, who's going to do the otherwise. Jesus had 12 disciples and one was a betrayer. So not expecting anybody to go the other way in President Tinubu administration, I think we'll be daydreaming. The president will put his foot on the ground to ensure that the ministers are held accountable. And I'm very positive and confident that this is not the kind of president that will appoint ministers and go and sleep. It's somebody that will be hands-on, someone that will make sure that all his ministers, they follow suit to the renewed hope agenda. So we're very expectant. It's very active. It's very proactive. So we know that things are going to go right.
Well, someone said, but he welcomed us with fuel subsidy removal. Yet he said, don't welcome us with a strike.
No, the point
so
is...
how do you relate to that?
No. What I'm saying is, the president just came in, putting things together. Give him time. Things are going to change. So there was no intimidation there, in my opinion. It was discussion. Do we want to see strike? Who are strike benefited?
Discussion where? Before his speech?
No, I'm talking about, the NLC, the question he asked. Strike affect the average Nigerian. So them not going on strike is not a sign of
face up to the average Nigerian too.
That's the point. Things are working gradually. Things are going to be put in place. Nigerians are not complaining. They understand that the tumor is...
Which Nigerians? The ones in America?
No, I'm a Nigerian. I'm a Nigerian. And
you said you run a multi-million-dollar company. What would you complain about?
No, that's not the point. The point is you need to listen to the average Nigerian. I relate with them. I'm a pastor. You understand that. I have churches all over. I have churches here. I still pastor. I relate with members. Yes, they feel the pain, but they understand that it's for our own good. I started with an example of a surgeon removing a tumor. You don't enjoy it. You don't. If there's any way you can do it without hurting the patient, they will do it. But they understand that we have to feel this pain is for the good of the Nigeria.
I hear you, but I don't know if that analogy suffices because that's already professionally set up environment, but in this case it's completely different, because after he made his speech, you saw what marketers did.
But was it the president that increased the price? That's the point I'm making.
But the president could box up. He could have given certain directions. No, this is not what I want. But he said it. This fuel subsidy must go. That's what he wanted.
Yes, because that's what everybody wanted. Every presidential candidate wanted the same thing.
All right, we need to wrap up.
If he didn't remove it, probably by now people will say he's the cabal. He's the one that is benefiting from fuel subsidy. That's why he has not removed it. He has removed it. We're complaining.
It's hypothetical, so we can't exactly say.
We have to know what we want.
That's hypothetical, so we can't say for sure.
That's what people would have been saying.
Well, we can't say for sure.
But that's what they would have been saying. He has removed it now. Nigerians understand that this is for our own good. We're feeling the pain now. Yes, trust me, I buy for it too. I'm not a spirit, I move with car.
You stop using yourself as an example. If you buy fuel with your multi-million dollars, you're going to buy as much. You even have the depot yourself. So what are we talking about here?
No. I buy for it too, but the point is, it's for our own good. It's going to get better. We should be patient, and things are going to change for better.
All right, well, thank you for coming on. Nicholas Felix, former Deputy National Youth Coordinator for the PCC of APC and former presidential aspirant himself. Thank you for coming on, and all the best.